Okay, friends, we are going to find polynomial solutions today, but using technology. So with the help of our graphing calculator. So we're going to grab our graphing calculator and we're going to put this polynomial in the y equals function. So we're going to go to our graphing calculator, we're going to go to y equals, and we're going to type in x to the power of 3. And then I think it was, I don't remember what it was, 2x squared plus 2x squared minus 4x minus 8. So I think that's what it was, x squared plus 2x squared minus 4x minus 8. And then if you want, you can look at the graph. And if you notice, the graph looks like it hits at -2 and +2. If you want, you can look at the table. And if you look at the table, you will see that when x is -2, the y value is 0. And when the x value is 2, the y value is still 0. So those are two of our solutions. But the problem is we know we're supposed to have 3. So what we're going to do is we are going to use the solutions we found in our calculator, the first of which was -2. So I'm going to take -2 and I'm going to put it in our box. We're going to use synthetic division. And then I'm going to put my coefficients and my polynomials. So I'm going to put 1, 2, -4, -8. I'm going to do synthetic division, which means the first number comes straight down. Then we multiply, then we add, then we multiply, then we add, then we multiply, then we add. And we notice we did get 0 as a remainder. Okay, so now we noticed also the graphing calculator told us that 2 was also a solution. So we're going to use 2 with these numbers that we have left over, and we don't need the remainder because he's no longer in the problem. So we're going to put an equals bar right here, and we're going to bring the first number straight down, and we're going to multiply, add, add, and again we got a remainder of 0. So in fact 2 is the solution. We knew that already. But what we have left is x plus 2 equals 0. So another solution is -2. So in other words, the solution -2 showed up twice. Okay. But in Canvas, all I need you to do for me in Canvas is to say that your answers are -2 and 2. And when you looked at the graph, if you'll notice, the graph looked like this. So let's talk about that just for a minute. You don't need that for this lesson, but in the future you will. So the curve came in like this. And right here is where the -2 is. And right here is where the +2 is. Okay. And the -2, you'll see that it changed directions on the x-axis. So it changed direction on the x-axis, which is why -2 was an answer twice. Was because if it's an even power, because -2 showed up twice, it's going to bounce off the x-axis. Okay. Alrighty, that's not really necessary for today, but that'll be helpful in the future. Okay, so this problem right here, x cubed minus 6x squared. So let's go back to our calculator, go here, x cubed minus 6x squared plus 7x plus 2 plus 7x plus 2. So there it is. If we look at it, okay, the only one that it looks pretty at is +2. It does hit it 3 times, but those other 2 places are at decimal values or decimal values. If we look at the table and we look at the Y list, the blue list, the only time we see the number 0 in the blue list is when the X value is 2. So the only time that we have a y value of 0 is when x is 2. So we're going to start synthetic division with the number 2. So we're going to start with the number 2. And we're going to go 1, negative 6, 7, and 2. Leave a space, draw a line, bring down your first number, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, 0 is our remainder. So this leaves us with x squared minus 4x minus 1 equals 0. I could, if I wanted to, since it's a quadratic, I could see if there are factors of -1 that add up to 4. There are none. So that is not a good plan. So this plan is no, he's not going to work. So if he's not going to work, our next choice is going to be the quadratic formula, which is x equals the opposite of b plus n minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by twice a. And you're going to remember that this is a, and this is b, and this is c. And you're going to go x equals the opposite of an already -4 plus n minus -4 quantity squared minus 4 times a times c, all in the square root, divided by twice a. Then you're going to put this in your calculator. And when you put that in your calculator, you get 20. So then you have x is equal to not -4, he's a +4, to 4 plus n minus the square root of 20 over 2. The square root of 20 is 2 radical 5. And all those reduced by 1. Nope, by 2. Hello. So x is equal to 2 plus or minus the square root of 5. Okay, so a couple of things on there. First of all, this piece right here, should make it smaller. Will it not? Crap. Okay. This piece right here is where the 20 came from in the problem, okay? So all of this got us the 20. The square root of 20 is the square root of 4 times 5, which is where the 2 radical 5 came from. And then, because this number, and this number are all divisible by 2, that is where this came from. So then our answers. Great question. So our answers are x equals, and in Canvas you're going to put 2, because that was this answer, and 2 plus n minus the square root of 5. And so those are your answers for Canvas. All right, next. X cubed plus 3x squared minus 4. X cubed, x to the 3rd power plus 2x squared minus 4. X cubed plus 2x squared minus 4. We're just going to double check. X squared plus 3x squared minus 4. X squared plus 3x squared minus 4. 3. Look at the table. It looks like it hits at -2. If we look at the table, not the graph, it hits at -2 and 1. Did it hit a 1? Oh, it hit at 1. -2 and 1. So we know 2 of the answers are -2 and 1. So we're going to use -2. 1, 3, 0, -4. If you're like, where did the 0 come from? Remember, we got plus 0x right here. Okay. Draw a line. Bring down your first number. Multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply. Excellent. The next number was 1, so we're going to do 1 with these three numbers. 1, 1, 2, 2, 0. That's going to leave us x plus 2 equals 0, and that's going to give us x equals -2. So again, we have the multiplicity thing. This showed up, and this showed up again. So we're just going to say our answers are -2 and 1, knowing that -2 is in there twice. And I didn't write that correctly for Canvas. Okay. All right. Ooh, that's it on that side. So let's come over here. All right. 14x to the power 3. Clear. X. Well, I forgot it already. Hang on. Memory, Mrs. Leonard. 14x cubed. 14x to the power 3 plus 45x to the power 2 plus 7x minus 6 plus 7x minus 6. Graph. Ooh. Does it hit any place nice? It doesn't look like it hits any place nice. We have no zeros in here at all. That's horrible. Did I copy the problem down correctly? 14x cubed plus 45x squared plus 7x minus 6. 14x squared plus 45x squared plus 7x was a plus. Plus? Was it plus? It was plus. Okay, that might be our redeeming quality there. That looks like it at least hits at -3. That's nice. -3. So it hits at -3. It hits at -3 because that's where we have our 0. See here? So we know to use -3. So we're going to put -3 in there. So 14, 45, 7, and -6. Bring down the 14, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. We know there aren't any other pretty ones. So we got 14x squared plus 3x minus 2 equals 0. Because we have a quadratic, we can see if it is factorable. So we're going to take a times c, which is -28, and we're looking for 3x. And how about 7 and 4, and let the 4 be negative. So our first term comes straight down, 14x squared, then we're going to add a 7x, then we're going to subtract a 4x, then we're going to subtract 2 equals 0. Then we're going to factor by grouping. So 14x squared and 7x contain a 7x, and this contains a -2. So greatest common factor of the first pair is 7x which will leave us with 2x plus 1. And factor of the second pair is negative 2, which will leave us 2x plus 1. Continuing to factor, we have 2x plus 1, and we have 7x minus 2 is equal to 0. We are going to set each factor equal to 0 and solve. And so this will be x equals negative 1 over 2, and this will be x equals 2 over 7. Remember, we also had the answer of negative 3. So our answers are x equals negative 3, comma, negative 1/2, and 2/7. So that is our answer we're going to put in Canvas. All right, this one, let's put him in. X to the 4th power minus 8x. Excuse me. Clearer. X to the power of 4 minus 8x. X to the power of 4 minus 8x. Just want to double check. X to the power of 4 minus 8x. Hit graph. Looks like it hits at 0 and at 2. Look at our table. It does hit at 0. And it does hit at 2. So we know 2 of our answers are 0 and 2. So I'm going to go 0, 1, 0, 0, negative 8, 0. You're like, what? Fair enough. This is x to the power of 4 plus 0x to the power of 3 plus 0x to the power of 2 minus 8x, technically to the power of 1, plus 0. So that's where all those numbers came from, because this is also technically x to the power of 0. But nobody writes x to the power of 0, and nobody writes x to the first. So, but there are your numbers in front. You're 1, 0, 0, negative 8, 0. So now let's get back to this. Black. Pull the first number down. 0 times 1 is 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 times 0 is 0. Negative 8 and 0 are negative 8. And negative 8 times 0 is 0. Okay? Just as a reminder, this is your remainder. This is your number. This is your x to the power 1. This is your x to the power 2. This is your x to the power 3 also. The power 3 is 1 less than the power 4. So what we now have is an equation that is x to the power 3. Oh wait, we had another answer, didn't we? Hang on, let's not do that then. We had another answer. What was our other answer? Our other answer was 2, wasn't it? Was our other answer 2? Our other answer was 2. So let's keep going. So now we're going to put 2 in the box. And we're going to do synthetic division with these numbers, because this is our remainder and we're not going to use it. 1, 2 times 1 is 2. 0 plus 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 0 plus 4 is 4. 2 times 2 times 4 is 8. This gives us 0. All right now. All righty now. This is our remainder. This is our number. This is our x, and this is our x squared. So we now have x squared plus 2x plus 4 is equal to 0, which is a quadratic. We could see if they will factor. Are there any factors of 4 that add to 2? No, there are not. So this is not something that's going to work for us. So we are not going to do that. So what we are going to do, what will work for us, is the quadratic formula, which is x equals the opposite of b plus n minus b squared minus 4ac, all inside the square root, all divided by twice a, and this is a, and this is b, and this is c. So we're going to say x is equal to the opposite of b, plus and minus b squared minus 4ac, all inside the square root symbol, and absolutely all of it is divided by twice a. Then we are going to do this piece, that is 4 minus 16, which is negative 12. So we're going to have x equals negative 2 plus and minus the square root of a negative 12 divided by 2. We're going to rationalize negative 12. So x is going to equal negative 2 plus and minus a 2i radical 3 divided by 2. I'm going to recognize the fact that this number and this number and this number are all factors of 2. So x is going to equal negative 1 plus and minus an imaginary radical 3. If you got lost on the 2i3, please remember that the square root of negative 12 is the square root of negative 1, 4, and 3. This gets you the I, this gets you the 2, and this gets you the square root of 3. Alrighty, so answers in Canvas. Answers in Canvas. X is equal to 0, comma, 2, and negative 1 plus and minus an imaginary root 3. There are 4 answers, and we should have 4 answers because we had 4 powers. Is that it? Nope, one more. Alrighty, another one with 4 answers. 3x to the 4th. 3x raised to the power of 4. Forgot the x. 3x raised to the power of 4 minus 28x squared. I think it was minus 9. How's my memory? Not good. Plus 9. Plus. Graph it. Ooh, it's a nice W. Looks like it hits at negative 3, positive 3, and then 2 other decimal places. Let's check the table for negative 3. Yes, at negative 3, the y value is 0. Yay. And then let's check 3. Yes. And there are no other zeros on the right-hand side. Okay. So negative 3 and positive 3 are 2 of our solutions. I could write those 2 down and at least get partial credit. So let's remember, if you need to see all the pieces, 3x to the power of 4 and no x's to the power of 3 minus 28 x's to the power of 2 plus no x's and 9. For synthetic division, we're going to start with negative 3. And we have 3, 0, negative 28, 0, and 9. Leave a space, draw a line, pull the first number down, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply. Dang it, where did I lose a sign? Right here, here, there. 0, excellent. Now, so I know negative 3 is an answer. Now I'm going to do synthetic division with only these numbers. Bring down the first number, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. Excellent. I am going to remember that this is the remainder, this is my number, this is my x, and this is my x squared. So now I have 3x squared minus 1 equals 0. So I'm going to have 3x squared is equal to 1. X squared is equal to 1/3. X is equal to a plus minus square root of 1/3. Okay, so my answers in Canvas are x equals, let's not remember my first answers, -3 worked and 3 worked. So if I want, I can go plus minus 3 and plus minus 1/3 in a radical. If you don't want to write it that way in Canvas, Canvas should have that as an answer. I should have thought to put that in as an answer. The other way you could have written it is -3, comma, 3, and plus and minus d square root. Oh, when you type it in though, remember that your MacBook will not let you extend the length of your radical sign. So you're going to put in 1/3, like that. Okay, so I guess up here maybe. Extend this, and this should have been a square root of 1/3. Either of those will go in the Canvas just fine. Is that the end? That is the end, my friends. Miss Pinkston also made a fabulous video if you'd rather watch her present this material. All right, have a great day.